What's good, gamers? So today we're going to be talking about White Forest. I'm very late to basically all the deck profiles I wanted to make this month. I'm not going to lie to you. It took me a while to get adjusted to the new Fiendsmith Azamina format. And especially with White Forest, I ended up trying a bit too many different builds, honestly. It was kind of silly. At a certain point, I caved and I admitted to myself, I got to remove the Toy Box engine. Even though it's really good, I think it's better in the Centurion version of the deck. I think if you want to play Fiendsmith and all this stuff and get the big boost and consistency from it, then it becomes kind of redundant to play the toy engine. Even though it pops off like crazy, you can't do much with the advantage it generates because you end up dedicating a lot of your extra deck to your other engines, you know? So we're running in this deck White Forest, Azamina, and Fiendsmith. I got to master rank with this deck, and it wasn't too hard. Once I made these changes, actually, it was pretty smooth sailing. I think this is a really good deck. Not exactly sure where I would put it on the tier list. Honestly, until I do MDC Cup 2 this upcoming Sunday, I'm not even sure how I feel in general about the tier list. Honestly, this format is a bit nebulous to me. I'm pretty sure that like Fiendsmith Snake Eyes is the best deck, but it feels like every Fiendsmith deck just like goes crazy going first, loses pretty hard to Fuelos or Maxi, and also can struggle a bit going second. And sometimes I can go second pretty well with this deck, but it's usually if I draw, you know, the right hand traps and my opponent doesn't have crazy hands, you know. But either way, I still really like this White Forest variant, and I think it's super solid, super strong. Definitely at minimum tier 3 or tier 2. Like, it's definitely super solid, better than Rogue. And yeah, we're going to talk about it today. I've got a good amount of replays. I'm sure a lot of people are already familiar with White Forest at this point in the game, so I don't really want to beat around the bush here. We will do a card by card at the end of the video, but for the most part, we're going to look at a couple of replays just to show different combo lines. We'll do a solo mode, you know, combo just for people that want a slower, you know, explanation of the applications of the different cards. Overall, basically, Fiendsmith engine gets you into your main combo because you use the Fiendsmith engine to make Beatrice, and then you go Beatrice plus sequence, make a Sprite Elf, and Sprite Elf can bring back the Esteller you just sent to the grave with Beatrice and get into your White Forest combo. Other than that, you pretty much use the Azamina engine to generate advantage, get you into your Link plays, which gets you into your Fiendsmith engine because you can make Moon with any two bodies. And also, it gets you an Omni Negates pretty early, so you're safe from the Biru or other potential hand traps later in your turn. So, with that being said, let's hop into it. All right, so the first replay I'm going to show you is really just to show the value of the Fiendsmith engine for White Forest. Obviously, it's a pretty similar usage that you would see in like Snake Eyes or a lot of different decks that go for the Beatrice line. But yeah, in this hand, I do have Tracked and Engraver, and I only run one Tracked, but it's fine. I have Deception, so I'll be able to get my Engraver in the grave, and it'll basically be the same as if I discarded Engraver to search the Track, right? So anyway, let's go ahead here. We're going to start off with Deception, tribute the Engraver to search out my Hallowed Azamina. Then we can go Hallowed Azamina, use Deception as the fusion material, and summon out the Mu Arcielago. And Arcielago can then trigger to search Wanted, but it gets negated by Imperm. So this is totally fine. At this point, it's basically the same as if I discarded my Engraver to search Tracked. So we'll be using Tracked to get into our plays. It's Tracked plus a body, right? Which is the negated Arcielago. So we go for Tracked here. We grab our Fabled Lurie, discard the Fabled Lurie, trigger the Lurie in the grave, get to special summon it. Then we go into our Link 1, Fiendsmith Requiem. We can go for Fiendsmith Requiem, tribute, summon out the Engraver. And Engraver plus a body, we can go into Sequence, activate, shuffle back 2, make Lacrima, make sure to leave Engraver in the grave so that Lacrima can bring back the Engraver from the graveyard. And then we have 2 level 6s, go into a Beatrice, and we can use Beatrice plus the Fiendsmith Sequence to make an Elf after we send our Esteller to the grave. So once we make Elf, we go, obviously, you know, Lacrima can shuffle back the Link, burn for a little bit, summon back the Esteller. Esteller can send my Imperm in hand to the grave, summon out the Sylvie from the deck, search the Tails of the White Forest, make Arciela, discard the Tails, search the Woes, Tails and Esteller trigger in the grave, so we get to set the Tails, summon Esteller, activate Tails. We can search the LZ here. Then we can go ahead and activate LZ, sending the Woes. We're going to get to summon LZ, search the Azamina version of LZ, set the Woes, activate LZ in the hand to special summon it, get to go into a Diabel. Then we get to trigger the graveyard effect of LZ, and we get to trigger the Diabel, Queen of the White Forest here. So Queen is going to add back the Deception, And then we can go for LZ, search the Wanted Seeker of Sinful Spoils. We go for Hallowed Azamina and add it back to the hand. I think, if I recall, I made a misplay here. So we go Hallowed. Oh, no, I did it. Okay. Hallowed Chain Wanted. That way Wanted can search the Bellstar. And then I can just send it to the grave as material to summon our Omni Negate. So we summon our Ilya Sylvia here, sending the Wanted. We get an Omni Negate on the field. Pretty damn good. These two here make SP Little Knight. I like SP, you know. I like SP because I plan on making a Baron, and SP, getting rid of Baron is pretty good, you know, just to like refresh the negate. So summon back the Engraver with the Graveyard effect, summon Sylvie with the Graveyard effect, and we get to go into a Baron de Fleur. So yeah, I really like just having SP plus Baron. It's just, I just really like this option. You know, once you use your Omni Negate with Baron, it loses it permanently, but you can refresh it by just using SP Little Knight, banishing Baron and an opponent's monster, or Baron and the SP, you know. So it's pretty damn good. So anyway, here I'm going to discard the Deception to summon out the Diabellstar. Diabellstar is going to set a Sinful Spoils, and then I'm going to go into a Baron de Fleur. Not Baron, sorry, I meant Appaloosa, my bad. So yeah, you know, generally speaking, the idea here is that if I wanted to, I could bring back the SP once I used my Baron Negate with the Elf on opponent's turn, and then if it ever comes up, I can use SP to refresh my Baron. Otherwise, we have these 3 monster negates, which is like super broken. We have 2 Omnis, we have the Woes set up. Sinful Spoils can make a Guardian Chimera, which we're running now. This is honestly like such a good set for Diabellstar within the deck. Being able to make Guardian Chimera is so strong. It's actually really crazy interruption, and sometimes you can use it to draw cards, sometimes use it more to like remove a bunch of cards. It's just really crazy. So here we go. I'm going to activate Maxi's Shotgun just because I have so many interruptions on the field that I feel comfortable doing it. I'm going to go for the Graveyard effect of my Sylvie here to summon her. This is just so like my Woes is live so that I can, on opponent's turn, you know, summon a level 2 from my deck, make the level 6 synchro, and flip all of my opponent's monsters face down if I need to. You know, we have like really solid interruption overall here. My opponent is playing Kashtira Unicorn. We go for Woes, summon Elzet, go into our Silvera here, get to flip down their Kashtira. I always feel like if I see Kashtiras, I just want to flip them down ASAP. Of course, if they're not actually playing Kashtira, it's not as strong, but with the amount of interruption I have here, I think it's totally safe to just do this, honestly. Now they go for a Diabellstar, sending the Lurie to the grave. On summon of Diabellstar, I made a mistake here. This is the mistake I made. Sinful Spoils has 2 effects, so be careful about that. I accidentally used the first effect of Sinful Spoils, which summons a Fiend, Illusion, or Spellcaster from hand. So I accidentally clicked OK really quickly, and I ended up summoning Veiler from my hand. So just be very careful when you activate this card that you're activating the second effect, which is to Fusion Summon, because I just wanted to make a Guardian Chimera here, pop 1 and draw 2, you know, but I kind of just mocked my opponent with a Veiler instead. It's still good enough, honestly. Here they go for Deception. I bring back my SP to get that nice, you know, interruption on the field just in case I need it. And then, well, you know, I'm just waiting because I don't need to use my Omni Negates until they do something serious. When they go Deception, I go for Baron to negate and destroy it, just so that if they already had Hallowed Azamina, they can't just use it as material. And then they go for another copy of Deception and scoop it up. So, pretty solid replay. I think this one really goes to show the value of the Fiendsmith engine within the deck. Keep in mind, this was literally 1 body plus Fiendsmith engine, basically, because you would go like Engraver, search Tract, activate Tract, summon, and then you always need a body anyway. Until we get Lacrima, you always need a body to be able to combo off with the Fiendsmith engine. So I thought it was a pretty good showcase for that. All right, so here we're playing with a bit of an awkward hand. So, you know, I figured we might as well show an awkward hand in action. So we have Wanted, or we get Ashed. We obviously have to call by this Ash because we don't really have plays here otherwise. So we're starting off with Wanted and Sinful Spoils of the White Forest in hand. Not exactly ideal as a hand. So we're just going to see what we can do with a very awkward hand here. So what do we do with the break? Well, we can discard the Ash Blossom here, summon the Diabellstar. Diabellstar can set the Deception of the Sinful Spoils. Go for Deception, tribute the Diabellstar to search the Hallowed Azamina. Go for Hallowed Azamina, sending the Deception to the grave in order to summon Mu Arcielago. Then we can go for Mu Arcielago effect, add the Elzet in this case. Yeah, so the reason I'm adding Elzet here is so that I can get into Fiendsmith plays, actually. So we go for Elzet, use Elzet plus our level 6 to go into Moon of the Closed Heaven. Then we can trigger the Hallowed Azamina in the grave, shuffle back just to add back the Hallowed. And obviously this only works because I had a hand that made it work, right? I had a Sinful Spoils card in hand that I could use for the second activation of Hallowed in order to summon Ilya Sylvia. So we go for the Hallowed here to summon Ilya Sylvia. At least we have an Omni Negate on the field. Go for our Link 1, Fiendsmith Requiem. Then we go for Fiendsmith Requiem, summon the Engraver, trigger the Wanted in the Grave to get my draw and see if I can get lucky. And we didn't. It's okay. We're going to normal summon Maxi, go into a Fiendsmith sequence. And, you know, at this point, we're just going balls to the wall here. We're fully committed. We make a Lacrima, summon out the Engraver. And here I'm just going to go again into the Beatrice, do the Beatrice line. We got Crossout Designator, which is a fine discard. Was the hand economy here good? No, but otherwise I was passing on literally Maxi and nothing. So I'm pretty happy with it. We get our Esteller, send the Crossout to the grave, summon the Sylvie, grab the Tails, go into the Arciela, discard the Tails, get to search the Woes. Then Tails sets itself back on the field. We get to summon back the Esteller. And, you know, we made that weird-ass hand work. You know what I mean? So with those two, I'm going to go into a Diabel. Diabel can then add back the Called By just to have, like, an extra interruption. I'm going to send the Woes to the grave, summon the LZ, grab the Rusia, get to set the Woes, go Rusia. Rusia plus her, make an SP Little Knight. Then I get to trigger Rusia, shuffle back to summon the Rusia, get to trigger in the grave the the graveyard effect of Engraver here, get to summon out the Engraver, and we can use these three to make Appaloosa, trigger Sylvie in the grave, bring her back so that we can make a Baron. And we basically got the same setup we had last time, except for the fusion spell, right? Like SP's in the grave, so I could bring it back with a Sprite Elf. We have Appaloosa for the monster negates, 2 amazing Omni negates. You know, it's a pretty good setup. The biggest difference is that on opponent's turn, I'll have to choose between bringing back a SP Little Knight or a level 2 to make my Woes live, just because basically I don't have the fusion spell, and I don't have the activation of Sylvie or Rusia live in the grave because I don't have any Synchros left in my graveyard to shuffle back. Still pretty good. So we get to set Deception here. Basically 2 less interruptions. They're going to go for a Planet Pathfinder. I'm going to summon out my LZ from the grave here. I should have kept Chaining on because basically here I didn't have Chaining on, so they got the chance to activate Pathfinder and I had to negate with Appaloosa. But if I had Chaining on, after I summoned LZ, I could have activated Woes and flipped down their monster. Because when I see Planet Pathfinder, I just assume it's Kashtira, right? Now here I think it's actually not Kashtira, if I'm not mistaken. But I would have assumed that, and I definitely wanted to shotgun the Woes, but I just didn't have I didn't turn Chaining on. Anyway, so we just negate it with Appaloosa. And yeah, they're actually playing Exodia, which is, you know, it's cool. It's cool. Exodia is whatever. They go for shield. I decide to negate the shield, and they summon Sengenjin, add Blue Eyes. That's fine. They search Wedju. That's fine. I'm going to go for Woes to flip their dudes face down. Their next play was to, like, activate Blue Eyes in hand, which we could have negated with Appaloosa. If they got to Ankh, well, we could have negated Ankh with the Ilya Sylvia. So, yeah, it was pretty clean there. There was really nothing to worry about. But I did think it was, like, a pretty good replay just to show with a really awkward hand that, you know, if you could get 2 bodies on the field, you could probably make something work. Not always, but generally speaking, you can make something work thanks to the Fiendsmith engine. I guess the last thing I'm going to show here, just in solo mode, is going to be your 1-card combo for the deck. I do want to say, though, just a quick note, because I didn't really show it in the replays, but when you use the Fiendsmith engine, if you already have access to your combo, instead of making Beatrice, you can just use your Lacrima and your Engraver plus your sequence, and you just make Appaloosa early. So usually if I see like Engraver in hand, but I also have full White Forest combo, I'll just use the Fiendsmith engine to, 1, bait out hand traps, and if they don't use hand traps to stop the combo, then I can just get into an Appaloosa and then just do my whole White Forest combo. So I didn't get to show that, but it's literally the same line. It's just instead of making Beatrice at that point in the Fiendsmith line, you just make Appaloosa. So anyway, here we're going to go for normal summon Sylvie. This is basically your only real 1-card combo in the deck that, well, that's not true, but it's your only real White Forest 1-card combo. So Sylvie, add the Tails to the hand here. And we're just going to ignore the 4 cards that we have in hand right here. So we're going to go for Tails of the White Forest. And we're going to add to our hand a LZ Azamina. So we can go for LZ Azamina. Now, of course, here I have spells that I could discard, but I'm doing the 1-card combo. So we're just going to assume that we don't have this in hand, okay? So we're just going to go straight into... Honestly, we could just go Silvera because we're not going to use RCL as effect. So we're going to summon Silvera. And again, it would be better to use Arciela here, but I want to show you an actual 1-card combo. So we go LZ, get to grab the Deception. Then we can activate Deception. And we can go for Deception, tribute the Synchro we summoned. So tribute that, because we're not using our hand here. We have only 1 card in hand, and it was Sylvie, okay? So we add the Hallowed Azamina. Go for Hallowed Azamina. Summon the Mu
sending the Deception to the grave. Get to summon the Mu Arcielago.
and you get to grab a Wanted with your Mu Arcielago. So grab a Wanted here. Very good. This is your 4th summon, so you don't really have like a nib safe line when you do the 1-card combo, but it's still pretty solid. So here we can go for Hallowed in the grave. Hallowed Azamina can actually shuffle back the LZ Azamina, so we can keep the Mu on field as a body, which is very important when 2 bodies gets you into Fiendsmith. So here we're going to go for Hallowed Azamina, and we're going to chain the Wanted. So chain Wanted here. Yep. And we get to search a Diabell Star. So search Diabell Star right away. Get to summon Ilya Sylvia by using our Wanted as fusion material. So here's Ilya Sylvia. Very good. Very, very good. So at this point, you can go for your Sylvia effect in the graveyard. Shuffle back your Synchro. Now here, of course, you have a level 4 tuner and a level 6, so it might be tempting to make a Baron, and, you know, that would be totally justifiable, but I would rather go into my Fiendsmith line. I already have an Omni Negate protecting me, and we can do a lot more once we get into, like, Beatrice plays. So we go for Moon here, using these two. We keep our Ilya Sylvia as our Omni Negate on the field. So go into Moon of the Closed Heaven. Then we can go into our Fiendsmith Requiem, and we can use Fiendsmith Requiem to summon Engraver from the deck. Now, very important, you don't really want to link away your Omni Negate, right? So the way that you summon Diabell here, since we're pretending that these cards don't exist, is you can just go for the Graveyard Effect of Requiem, equip it to the Engraver, and then special Diabell Star by sending the equipped Requiem to the grave. Pretty crazy. Pretty broken. Then with Diabell Star, we get to set our Sinful Spoils. So Sinful Spoils gets to the field here. This is very, very valuable for our combo. So at this point, we can go for Sequence. Go for Sequence with these two. And I don't want to shuffle back before I use Wanted, so I'm going to use Wanted right now. Use Wanted, shuffle back Deception, get a draw. All right, we drew into Tract. We're going to go for Sequence here. We're going to make a Lacrima not using Engraver, basically. Just make sure not to use Engraver. So here's Lacrima, and we just special out the Engraver from the graveyard here. There we go. So now we do the Beatrice line that I showed you earlier. Detach, send the Esteller. So send Esteller here. Then we can go into Elf. And while you're at it, you might as well make your Omni Negate here protected by Elf, you know. That can always be useful. We do get the effect of Lacrima here. You can shuffle back your Link too. Get a little bit of extra value, and you get a bit of burn damage. And Elf, you want to special summon out your Esteller here. So you get a little bit of burn. Oh, well, wait. No, you summon this first. Then you get the burn. So Lacrima burn. Then we can go for Esteller, and we can send these Sinful Spoils that we set. It's going to set itself again. So we get to special summon. This time we'll special summon the Rusia. Get to set back the Sinful Spoils. Very good. I guess the card that we drew off of the Wanted does count as part of the 1-card combo. So if we give ourselves the right to use the card we drew as part of the combo, then here you probably would just go Arciela. And you definitely would get a bit of extra value from it. So we could go like Arciela, activate, discard the Tract, for example, that we just drew. So I guess it counts. And then, you know, you could search either LZ if you wanted to go like LZ just to get more bodies, or you could search Woes if you just wanted to do that, you know, on opponent's turn. Here, I honestly would probably just search the Woes, I think. So just going to grab Woes, get to trigger the Esteller in the grave, you know, special Esteller. Then at this point, you know, you could go for your Diabell. So Diabell with the 6 and the 2 here. Summon the Diabell, Queen of the White Forest. Diabell gets to add back a spell of your preference. Again, with Hallowed, I could send this card with Hallowed since it's not once per turn, and summon the Mu Arcielago if I had shuffled it back, but I did not. It's still in the grave, so no reason to do that. Honestly, all these cards are not super useful here, but I guess I'll add back Tract because, well, I mean, we didn't use it. At this point, we could go for the Graveyard Effect of Rusia. So Rusia could shuffle back the Arciela. Like so. And we can go for the Graveyard Effect of Engraver, shuffling back the Lacrima. That gives us a level 6 and a level 4 so that we can make Baron, right? So that's pretty good. So use those two, make Baron. Like so. Very good. And then I guess with the extra gas we got from drawing into tracked and then adding it back, we might as well go for a Lurie. You know, add Lurie, discard Lurie. To be fair, that was a pretty lucky draw with the tracked, but you know, I mean, it was part of the 1-card combo. Luck is a part of skill, you know. So here we can go for an SP Little Knight using Duel plus Lurie. And we've got a really good setup here. So we're losing out on the Appaloosa to do this whole line, but we got woes. Again, we didn't use any of these 4 cards we had in hand originally, so this was all a 1-card combo with some luck on our draw. And basically what I get on opponent's turn is I can go for Elf to bring back a level 2, then go Woes to make the Silvera and get to flip my opponent's monsters face down. We have access to our Sinful Spoils of the White Forest, which allows us to make a Guardian Chimera on opponent's turn. We have 2 Omni Negates. We can refresh our Baron with SP if we need to. Like, there's a lot going on here. Also, our SP and our Sylvia are untargetable, which is also kind of nice. So they can't even imperm Sylvia to, like, stop that Omni Negate. So honestly, a pretty damn good board to pass on here. I guess I'll show some of our interactions. Obviously, I'm against Digital Bugs solo mode as always. I pretty much always play against the same solo mode. But yeah, we'll just play it out here. I guess I can actually do this to get a body on the field for the woes instead. That also works, so we'll do that. So summon Sylvie here. Just gonna wait for my opponent to do stuff. All right, so they're going Bug Matrix. That's fine. All right, perfect. So here, for example, you know, I could go woes and just summon something from the deck. You already know how this stuff works. You know, you can summon LZ to get a search. So you go for this. Silvera. Very nice. Special Silvera. You know, get to flip down their monsters. Feels good. Feels nice. And you get to chain block it if you want to. Just in case. If you're worried, I don't know, about Ghost Ogre or something. I don't know. If you want to chain block the Silvera, you can. So we add back Deception here from the deck. And we flip down their monster. Pretty good. Pretty good. So now they set a couple of cards they want to pass. We can go for our Sinful Spoils. Well, what you want to do really is go Elf first. So like Elf, special to level 2. And let's turn chaining on. So special to level 2. Then I think I can activate this in end phase. So I probably would wait to end phase here. Yeah, I'll wait to end phase. End phase, I'm going to go for Sinful Spoils. And I would, you know, fusion summon our Guardian Chimera using our Esteller on the field. This on the field. And okay, I guess these cards, I did end up using them at least for the fusion. So I ended up using them on some level, I guess. But whatever, I still think it counts. We go for the Guardian Chimera here. Guardian Chimera, pop 2, get a draw. You know, pretty damn good. Get a draw. Probably pop the 2 unknown back rows. And you would just clean it up from there, right? I don't think we need to meander more. I think you get the idea at this point. Let's go do the card by card. By the way, if you're wondering about results, I mean, this is just a 4-game win streak. It's nothing too crazy, but I did get to master with this deck. My performance was pretty damn good. I started playing on the 17th with this one. So I think I got, you know, like 4 losses and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 wins. 11 wins, 4 losses. Is it the best thing ever? No, but honestly, I think this format is pretty like coin flip dependent, pretty sacky, and it definitely feels like even if you're playing the absolute best deck, you probably won't have like 100% win rate in Master right now. I might be wrong though, maybe it's just a skill issue talking there, but I do feel like the deck is still really solid. So here's a list, and before I start listing off the cards, I do want to remind you guys, if you're watching this like around the day that it's released, that tomorrow's the last day to sign up for MDC Cup, and this is going to be a free tourney happening this upcoming Sunday with $500 prize pool. I have a video on my channel with more details. I'm going to link that video in the description, but I highly recommend you guys sign up if you're free this upcoming Sunday, because like $500 prize pool for a free tourney that anyone can enter is pretty awesome. Let's list off the cards here. So we have obviously the 1 of Lurie, 2 copies of Valor, 1 Droll, double Maxi, 2 copies of Esteller. By the way, the 1 Droll is just kind of a cross out target, I'm not gonna lie. 2 Esteller, 3 copies of LZ, 1 copy of LZ Azamina, triple Ash Blossom, triple Sylvie, because this is, like I showed in that last replay, your only White Forest 1-card combo. 1 copy of Rusia, triple Fulos, 2 copies of Engraver, 1 Diabel, 1 Tails, 1 Tracked, 1 Hallowed Azamina, triple Deception. This is basically your access to the Azamina engine, and I really liked running 3 Deception over running 3 Diabel, just because I feel like you get a bit more value and a bit more ceiling from activating Deception. Diabel, I would say, is better going second. Like if you have 3 Diabel, 1 Deception, it's a bit stronger going second, But I'm just prioritizing winning the coin flip because this deck is not very good going second anyway, and I don't think that, you know, one copy of Duel is going to make all that difference. Either way, 2 copies of Called By, 1 copy of Crossout, 1 Wanted, the Sinful Spoils fusion spell so that we can make Guardian Chimera on opponent's turn. It's also just the best thing to set in this deck with Duel, as far as I'm concerned. 3 copies of Imperm, 1 copy of Woes. In the extra, we have Lacrima, Ilia Sylvia, Mu Arcielago, the Guardian Chimera, Arsilvera, Arciela, Duel, Baron. We have Beatrice, Fiendsmith Requiem, Sprite Elf, SP Little Knight, Moon, Sequence, and Appaloosa. So that's the list. That's the deck profile. I feel like I spent a lot of time on that solo mode replay thing. So I think we're just going to end it there. If the video was helpful, let me know in the comments. If you think the deck is whack, let me know in the comments. If you hate White Forest and you hate modern Yu-Gi-Oh, let me know in the comments. And yeah, do check out that tournament, man. It's worth it. All right, see ya.